What is going on, guys? Welcome back to CEOCAST, and today I'm joined with none other than Imran Arshad, the owner of Evolve Automotive, 660, Eventuri, you name it, he's got it. So Imran, how you doing?
How you doing, Raheem? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. So tell us, man, what you been up to?
Busy, busy. Obviously, it's unprecedented times for everyone. COVID-19's everywhere. Countries on lockdown. Just been spending the last couple of weeks just reorganizing the way everyone's working, just like everyone else, just switching
Is it?
employees
Are you
to
finding it
remote
hard to
working.
adapt?
No, I mean, we're pretty fluid. I mean, I'll be honest with you, all of our backend systems, mainly they're cloud-based anyway. Our invoicing's cloud-based. We already do a lot of mail order and a lot of tuning online, just like sending out customers the equipment to do it. They're sending us their files. So it was quite easy for us to adapt, to be fair. Only one section of the business we can't change is like people physically coming into the workshop and having work done on their cars, but that's a small part of our
Business.
business. This is why it's important to have multiple revenue streams and ways of working remotely, because like right now I can invoice from my laptop, I can invoice from my phone, I can take payments from my phone. All my guys can work and everything's still in a central location.
Okay, that's wicked, man. That's wicked. That's good to hear that
Yeah.
you're adapting to the changes. Unfortunately, there's times, we can't do much about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, I'll be honest, it's very easy to switch because everything is moving towards cloud-based, and we are a technology company, as it were. So we're kind of always having a look and seeing how we can streamline our processes, just divert the phone calls to the mobiles, and you're done. That's it.
Yeah, man. If you guys haven't already seen, make sure you go and check out Imran's Instagram or Evolve's Instagram. You see the line of cars that my man has here. Wicked. F8, M3,
Everything else,
M2.
like, they're not my personal cars. Yeah, they belong to the company.
Yeah, no, fair
It's all
enough. But
good.
you're still driving them, so it counts.
Yeah.
It's wicked. But let's dive it back. So, how did you even get into it? Like, what was you doing before Evolve?
So, I mean, I did loads of different things. So my degree is in law.
Okay.
I kind of, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a designer. Everyone told me, oh, it's really hard to be a car designer, really hard to be a graphic designer. Kind of got talked out of it.
Yeah.
Then I thought, okay, I need a career. So I said, okay, law is a good career. I'll be a lawyer. So I did my A levels, went to uni, did law degree. And then after I did my law degree, I was working for a solicitor while I was in uni for 3 years.
Okay.
And I thought, I've been working here for 3 years. Let me see, is there life outside of this? Maybe something else I want to try out. So I didn't go and do my legal practice course straight away. I went and I worked in sales, PR, marketing for around 5 years. And I really liked the PR and sales marketing aspect of things. I worked for a PR company for a year, and a lot of the PR and marketing skills I learned was actually that 1 year I worked with that company. I had no marketing degree or anything, but the way they worked and the way they inducted you into the company, you really got a crash course into how everything
worked.
And I thought, I was dealing with a lot of product managers at big companies, and I thought, that's what I want to do. That's like a really, really good job. I tried to apply for stuff, nothing ever happened. And then I thought, well, I need to probably go back and do my LPC, because you have to do that within 7 years of doing your LLB. Otherwise, it's not valid anymore.
Yeah.
So I went back, did my LPC. Straight after that, I got a job with the legal regulator, the Law Society.
Yeah.
So I was working with them for 3 years. And it was while I was working for them that I bought my first performance car, which was an E30 M3.
So were you always into cars?
I've always been into cars, yeah. Always been into cars. Always, like, I used to buy Max Power magazines when I was younger. So I was always been into like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy a car, modify it.
Yeah.
So I bought an E30 M3. That was 2003, I think, 2002. And then I started to modify that, got into all the forums where everything was like, that's where you would go find out information about the car, see what people are doing to it. Started modifying that a little bit. And I noticed that there was a few companies doing bits, and like when you ordered products from them, it wouldn't come from them, it would come from like the distributor. And I thought, well, they're just drop shipping. So that's what opened me up to drop shipping. And I thought, I could do this. I could just set up a website. I could basically get accounts with these companies and start taking orders and drop shipping. And at the time, I was just about to start to do that. And there was another guy who was doing something similar, and he was in the same scene as us. So I thought, there's no point in me going up against him. I might as well just see if he wants to join forces and do it together. So I essentially bought half of his business, which was just online shop selling products. So started setting up accounts with like Bilstein and Super Sprint and Miltech and all these people. Just started selling parts online. And I think around 2003, 2004, I bought my Z3M Coupe, which was quite a rare car.
What year, sorry?
2003. Sorry?
You say 2003?
2003, yeah.
Okay,
so I bought a Z3M Coupe, the weird looking thing.
Yeah, I know you talk about,
But that was a very rare car, and I got into the community there, and they're very like sort of self-insulated, and I started to modify that car. And when I used to go to events, I was faster than everyone. And Eve said they were going to existing tuners who've been around for ages, and my car was faster than them with like 3 modifications, because I was like taking parts and going to a dyno before we had one and testing them and making sure that everything was like working.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And then they started saying to me, oh, you know, why don't you do the same for me? I'm like, at that point, I didn't have business. I was like, I can't do this like for you. They're going to, but we don't trust anyone else.
So were you doing all the modifications yourself?
No, so I used to go to a garage. So I'd buy them, I'd test them myself, but I had a mechanic at the time. Who I'd go to. So I just started taking the cars off the customers and giving them to my mechanic and just acting as a middleman. So I'd buy the parts, give them to my friend, he would fit them, then we'd give the car back.
Yeah.
And after a while, I thought I could like kind of make this into a full-time gig. So I did.
Okay, fair enough. So that's where it all started. That's where Evolve started.
That's where Evolve started. So we started just doing online parts, and then we started to like act as middleman to get the parts on the cars. And then 2007 we bought a dyno. So we didn't even have a unit, we bought a dyno. The unit was taking ages for the legal paperwork to come in. The dyno was sitting at the docks.
So where did you put the dyno?
At this point, obviously you didn't have the funding for dyno. We asset financed it.
Yeah. And
then it was sitting at the docks for a month before our unit basically got approved. And then we had an industrial unit and we had a dyno, and that's when we started to do all the tuning.
Is that the old unit that you used to have?
That was unit 8. So that was the first unit we had, which was around 1,100 square foot.
Okay, so that's before the last unit.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. And then
so the current one we're in is the third move that we've had.
And how big is that?
What, the current one?
Yeah.
14,000 square foot.
So from, you said 1,100 square foot to 14,000.
Yeah, so 1,100 square foot. The second one was 2,500, and then at some point we got a mezzanine, which then made it 4,500.
Yeah.
And then we moved from 4,500 to 14,000 square foot, which is where we are now.
So business is expanding quite a bit.
Yeah. So obviously it's just not Evolve. I started Eventuri 2014, which is a whole different story, and then that's much more scalable. We're a manufacturer, so we sell to distributors all over the world, and then they sell to their dealers, who then sell to their end users. So we needed the space essentially for the Eventuri side of the business.
Okay, fair enough. So do you do everything with Eventuri there, from research and development as well?
Yeah, so Eventuri is a partnership between me and Bilal Mahmood, who is the inventor of the Eventuri intake, and he's the lead R&D and designer. So he approached me 2013, I think it was, and said, I've developed a new intake and I think it will work really well. We had I think at that time I had an E60 M5, the V10.
Okay, yeah.
And I said, okay, yeah, you can send it to me. I'll test it out on my car. If it works, then we can talk. And I tested it out and it worked. And I said, yeah, I think you've got something here. Let's talk. So we discussed how we would do business together. We made a structure, and that's how Eventuri was born.
Did you know him before?
Because before that, intakes didn't really, we never used to use them because nothing really worked. So
okay, fair enough. Yeah, so it was basically mainly like exhaust and tunes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what was the first car you bought for Evolve?
What, first project car?
Yeah, like the demo car.
First demo car was my Z3M Coupe. So even that was bought before the business.
Okay, fair enough.
Came.
But
about,
you used it as that.
I used that as the company demo car for a long time.
Yeah, no, that's sick, man. So I was saying, did you know Bilal before Eventuri started?
Yeah, so I knew Bilal from just the car. He's a BMW guy. He likes M-Power cars. So I met Bilal a long time ago, probably 2000 and before I started Evolve, so probably 2002, 2003, I went to some place to get my sister's Mini remapped, and he was there with his E36 M3, and we just started talking, and we got on, very similar backgrounds. And then we just kept in touch from then. Yeah, then he obviously had another company called Storm Motorworks. They make all these like gear knobs and stuff.
Yeah.
So when we did start Evolve, when we were going to like trade shows and stuff, he would be there as well, and we would sell some of his products. So just known him for a long time. Yeah,
that's wicked, man. That's wicked here. And now you're obviously doing Evaero as well.
Yeah, so Eventuri is doing really well. We won the Queen's Award for Enterprise for that last year, which was a massive thing for international trade. So we got to go to Buckingham Palace, and now we've got the Queen's little E on our boxes and everything, which was a huge deal for us. And then now I've started with Bilal a new project called Evaero, and that is making carbon fiber aero products for the cars that we make the intakes for, essentially. Yeah. Because we have the customer base for those parts already. Okay. And I know that we can design some really cool parts, make them in really, really good quality carbon fiber, and hopefully disrupt the market again, like we did for the intakes.
So would you say you're doing the Evaero for the clients that you already have due to the demand?
Well, yeah, because it's something I've always wanted to do. So it goes back to me being a child and wanting to be a car designer, and everyone put me off doing it because I like aesthetics. I love design, even though I can't translate that into CAD myself. I can come up with the concepts and sketch stuff, and then I work with somebody who then puts it into CAD for me. So for me, this is like it literally is a dream come true. I've always wanted to, if I can't be a car designer, I want to design parts for cars. So now we've got the intakes with Eventuri, we do the wheels with 660. So that's another collaboration with one of my friends. And now we've got the body kits as well. So we're literally going to have the whole, we can have our own wheels, we can have our own intakes, we can have our own tune, we can have our own. So
you're literally living like your childhood dream, essentially.
I am. So again, when I made reference to working for a PR company and having clients who were the product managers, essentially I created a role for myself where I became the product manager for my own products.
Yeah, I get you.
And then I'm then responsible for the marketing and the sales and the distribution and everything. And my skill set is mainly in I would say the PR and marketing sales side of things, and then networking, because I'm pretty good with people. And the network that I've built up over the years, essentially we're making more products which then feed into the same people, because they trust us. They know that we're going to put out good quality products and that look good and there's demand for. So they know for now, example, when we do the Aero, we've already got like people committing to pre-orders and stuff. They haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, that's wicked. To be fair, now I've seen a couple of your Instagram stories. And what you've done with the F80, you've made it look, in terms of the Aero, completely different from whatever else is on the market. It looks sick.
Yeah, it's very different. And that was an interesting story. So the people I'm working with who are translating my ideas into CAD, they are industrial designers who have never done anything with cars before.
Okay.
And I had my own ideas, and they said, "Oh, look, can we come up? Can we do something ourselves?" I'm like, yeah, come up with ideas. I'm more than happy to see new ideas, because I was thinking these guys had never done anything for a car before, but the other products they've designed I'm talking about from boats to shishas to you name it, and everything they designed looks amazing, right? So I said, I'm really interested to see what they come up with, and they're the ones who come up with those events.
Oh, is it? Well, the slats and the F80.
Yeah, the slat things. Yeah, so that wasn't my design concept, that was theirs, and I saw it, I was like, wow, no one's done anything like this before. And it's really hard for a car to be out for that long and to come up with an original idea. So, and yeah, between us they came up with the original one, and I said, okay, that's nice, but let's tweak it a little bit more. So then I took their initial design and I made it how I wanted it, but that concept was their concept.
So what's the process like and feeling like, should I say, of thinking of the idea to actually seeing it on the car, like when you have the carbon ready and everything? What's that feeling like?
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome, because it's like it starts off as an idea in your head, or you look, because I see these cars all the time, they're around me, right? So I always stare at the front bumper of a car and think, okay, this split would look really good if it came down to this and it had these details in it.
Yeah.
Then I can make a rough sketch of that. Then that gets translated into CAD, and then we can 3D print that, as you've seen, and then we put it on the car, and then I can see exactly what it's going to look like.
I got a question to ask you. Yeah, it's got not much to do with business, but I remember when the F80 came out, you put a post up of a render of what it should look like, and you're saying should Evolve make a front bumper for it or Eventuri. Would you do that?
I would love to do that, but I'll be honest with you. I think that when that new M4 comes out, I think people are going to change their mind about it. And then the front end conversion is not going to be just the front bumper. You're going to have to replace the wings, the bonnet, everything, because the bonnet's very sculpted and that sculpture is going to come into the front area.
Yeah.
So although you got all these people hating on that new design, I know when it comes to them putting their hands in their pockets and spending a whole money on a front end conversion, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm personally not willing to invest in doing a front end conversion on that car. If someone else does it, that's, all fair play to them. But you know what happens with design? When you get something that's new and so radically different, people's brains can't process it.
It grows on them.
And it grows on them.
Yeah.
And it takes very brave designers to do things like that. And if you think about BMW, they do that every now and again. That's what pushes design forward.
Because I'll be honest, like, when the F80 came out... Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's just an evolution. It's like, it's not the same as doing something revolutionary then, which then becomes the norm. So I think people do resist it. They find it awkward, but then after a while, I'll just be like, "Oh, what was the big deal about?" We'll see what happens. Yeah. At the end of the day, if the numbers aren't there and they don't sell the product, what's going to happen? But I'll be honest with you, people who want the car, they'll buy it, and they'll probably get some new type of customers as well who look at it and think, "Oh wow, that's just super aggressive."
Yeah.
And let's be honest, no one's actually seen the car in its entirety yet.
Yeah, it's true. So
I've got friends that have seen it on development team and stuff, and they're saying it just looks super aggressive. So I'll reserve. Look, I'll be honest with you. When I first saw the big front wheels, I was the same. I was like, I don't know what the fuck they've done there. But you have to realize that you have to see it in full context.
Yeah.
To see what it's actually.
You got to see the whole car to judge it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But yeah,
I was going to say Z3M Coupe when that first came out, I saw it in adverts, the Z3M Coupe.
Okay, yeah.
When that car was new and I saw it in adverts, I thought, "Oh my god, that's so ugly."
Yeah.
I'll never own one of them. 3 years later, I've got one.
No, but that's what I was saying. Like, at first when the F80 came out, I was thinking, what the hell have BMW done compared to the E92? Because I used to love that car. And then 3 months into that F80 when it came out, I was thinking this is probably my favorite one so far. So I think it just grows on you when you see the car at first.
Yeah. But then that's it. Is brave design is what pushes everything forward. If you don't have someone who's willing to take that step, everything just looks the same, right? So
yeah. So my question to that would be, would you say you're implementing that brave design into like Evaero?
I think in a way we are. It's quite hard to do it with add-ons, but we are going. I'm an OEM plus kind of guy, and that's the ethos of the company. But if we can do OEM plus with a little bit of flair, which I think we've pulled off, then that's going to bode well for us. Yeah,
no, looks sick. So you've been going for Evolve anyways for about 17 years now.
No, 2007. So that's 13.
Oh,
it'll be 13 years.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So 13 years. So how's it been in terms of business? Like, have you had any struggles? What's the ups and downs?
Yeah, anyone who has a business that doesn't tell you they have struggles, we've had lots of struggles. So obviously we started 2007. We didn't have huge funding. We were literally just funding stuff ourselves or getting asset finance, putting stuff on credit cards, you name it, whatever we could do.
Just to get up and running.
And the recession hit 2008.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to then grow through the recession. But at that time, we didn't have huge overheads. We just started out, so we saw a lot of bigger companies around us failing. So I think we picked up a lot of their business.
Yeah.
And because we weren't paying ourselves anything probably for the first 2-3 years, then it doesn't make that much difference, right? You can keep the company going, ticking over and keep it there and relevant. When things start getting better, then obviously it works out. And then 2014, I had a lot of issues with my then business partner, which I don't want to get into too much, but
that's fine.
It was at the point where I was going to leave.
You leaving the company, basically?
I was ready to leave Evolve. I was making plans on the side, which is where 660 came from.
Okay, yeah.
So I was ready to go and do that and a few other things. And essentially, I ended up maneuvering myself into a position where I could buy out my business partner's share at the time. for a decent amount, and basically get out of that relationship. So one piece of advice I have for people is this: if you're going to go into business with people, it doesn't matter who they are, you need to have somebody who's got a controlling share, or you need a way of resolving disputes, and you put this down in writing before and agree to it before you start the business. So whether you have a third party mediator comes in and says, you know, like, you can't make a decision, this is what I think, and you have to go with it, and you have to have an exit strategy
in terms of like the contract and stuff.
Yeah, so basically, okay, you start the business, it's all hunky-dory for 3-4 years, but people change, situations change, and then you need to get out. So you need to have something in place to say, okay, if one of us needs to get out, this is what the deal is. Like, in terms of, like, you know, this is how we value the company, and this is what you have to pay me, and all that kind of stuff. Because if you don't have that in place, it's very, very tricky. That was, so from 2007, 2013, 14, we built up really nicely. We were like just launched in America 2011, and that's when we really took off, because UK is quite a small market.
Yeah,
but if you can get into America, America's huge. We're treating like much more. Like, I would say the ratio is like 10-1.
Oh, really?
So 10 in America, 1 here.
Even now?
Even now. So if you look at the size of the country, it's huge. And there's a lot of people with a lot of disposable income. So that, you know, and then kind of at 2014 when we had all these issues, because when all the issues arose, I was ready to leave, so I wasn't doing anything. I was like, I'm not putting my effort into this anymore. So our trajectory just like literally flatlined and even went negative.
Did you have all that stuff in place, like the contracts and all that?
No, nothing. This is why I'm putting it out. you need to have this. It's not a problem if somebody's got a larger controlling share, because then they make all the decisions, right? It's not a problem. You've got so much to do. But what I'm saying is quite bad to have 50-50
because
partnership.
Can't really do much.
Because you're a stalemate, but then you need something in place. So, okay, if we're at a stalemate, maybe we go to our accountant or a business mediator, and whatever they say.
Decision.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So then, even though you didn't walk away from Evolve, you still went out with 660.
I stuck with it, but then obviously, essentially at that point in 2014, it felt like I was starting again. Yeah. Because I had to build up again, because I had not put any effort into that, because I was preparing myself to leave. Yeah, for the worst. Yeah. I started getting new team members in. I built the team how I wanted it done, and essentially for me, I kind of had to start again then, because once you lose momentum, it's really difficult to then start picking it back up again.
So would you say it feels like two different businesses from 2014 to what it was?
100%. If you speak to people that we deal with, our suppliers, people that we sell to, even our customers, they will say that it does feel like two different companies. Because the first one wasn't done in my image, if that makes sense. This Evolve now is completely me. You want it to be like your standard, but it couldn't be because you're 50-50. Yeah, it's just the way we do, just the way we deal with everything. Yeah. Yeah, no, makes sense. But then so then you came out with 660 anyway. So how did that all come about? So my friend Taran, he's been in the wheel game for ages, and this was meant to be something that would have been Evolve wheels. Yeah. But at the time, because I was having all these issues, I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start something like separately. Yeah. So he's been in the wheel game for ages. I said, I want to start doing my own forged wheels. He's got a lot of contacts. So yeah, we just started working with a company in Taiwan called BC Forged. So initially we were selling their wheels, and then we got a good relationship with them, and we started saying, okay, we want to design our own. Mm-hmm. So we started working with them to design our own wheels, and then they were essentially producing them for us, and it kind of started from there, and it's just grown from that. Yeah, man, because some of your wheels are like the best on the market, especially the ones on your M3, on your BMWs, and the rest you've put on like YouTubers' cars and stuff. Wicked. Yeah, the cryptos. Yeah, people love that. Yeah, it's like a directional wheel. Yeah, wicked, man. And then so alongside that, so you basically had, or right now anyway, you still have three businesses running, or is there more? So yeah, we've got Evolve, 660, Eventuri, which started roughly at the same time, and then we've just started to do Evaero. And what would you say is the key for growth in those businesses, especially car business? So me being like a car fan, and anyone else who is, if they wanted to start something, whether it's like opening an exhaust shop or a modification shop of some sort, what would your advice be to them, like, to grow? If you want serious business, you need to produce a product which you can scale and sell everywhere. If you're limiting yourself to customers who are going to come in and just come to your shop, then you're going to remain very small. Don't get me wrong, you can make a good living out of that, but it needs to be scalable. And then to be scalable, you need a good network, and then you also need to set your pricing up such that you can work on a distribution model. If we weren't working on a distribution model, then we won't be able to scale as much as we can. Because you need to give the distributor margin, then they need to give their dealer margin.
Yeah.
Then sell to the
made basically.
end user. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, man. So, and that's sick to hear that you're doing well and everything. I hope would you say you're happy and content in the place that you're right now?
Yeah, I mean, before all this stuff hit, I was very happy. I'm still happy. At the end of the day, I'm doing what I love. I don't have Monday morning feeling. Yeah. I have lots of projects that are interesting. Alhamdulillah, what can I say? You can't really ask.
Here's a question I've got for you actually. Yeah, I just thought of this. How do you decide what cars or what demo cars you need to buy? For example, like your Supra, your FAE, M2. How do you decide which ones are going to work best for the business? And adding to that, is there any like a self decision that makes you want to buy it?
No, nothing's really for self. I mean, the BMWs are really easy because we just need to have all the M cars, right? So we buy every M car that comes out so we can develop a whole range of products for them. Yeah. So like now, every car we've used to develop the tuning on, we've used to develop exhaust parts on, intakes on, and now we're using them to do the aero. So they all get used. So I see my cars the same way a landlord would see a property. I see it as an asset which I make money out of continuously, and we normally keep them for around 3 years, and then like when the new model comes out, then we'll get rid of it and then get another one. But I mean, in terms of how we decide, the Supra was just like, the Supra is going to be. We just had a feeling the Supra is going to be a big popular model. Yeah. And the RS3 is a funny story. That is literally the RS3 was bought and built just because somebody essentially pissed Bilal off and said his intake didn't work.
So you guys decided to go all out, get the stage 3 done in it, everything.
Let me explain to people, that car's like got magnesium wheels, it's got a built engine.
Yeah.
It's got like big turbo, it's got a Cyvex ready to go on it.
Yeah.
And it's all because somebody said to Bilal his intake doesn't work, so he wanted to prove everyone wrong.
And he has.
Yeah.
So that car's flipping fast, basically. I've seen it on the drag strip as well, Santa Pod, all of that.
Yeah, well, that's not fully bought yet. That's going to be ready. It was meant to be ready for VMAX this month, but VMAX has been cancelled now. So, so I would say out of all of them, that was like a personal pet project. But it's still done. It done pretty well. We had it at Essen Motor Show. We sold a lot of intakes for that car. And while we've had it, then Bilal's developed like the turbo inlet tube. So we've developed the first carbon fiber turbo inlet tube for that car.
Okay, yeah. I think I saw that, yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
So then, have you had any cars that you thought were going to work and that didn't go the way that was planned?
No, not so far.
Okay, alhamdulillah, that's good.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
but that's what I mean. It doesn't come down to that. Like, there's probably loads of cars that I would want to buy personally, but they wouldn't work if they don't work business wise. Then it don't make sense to me.
There's one thing I was going to add to that. So does it make sense to buy the car brand new when a good margin of it is knocked off as soon as you take it off the showroom?
For us, it's an expense.
Okay, fair enough.
You have to weigh up. That comes off our tax bill at the end of the day. When we sell the car, we write the depreciation off, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we get R&D tax credits as well.
Okay, yeah.
So that's whatever the depreciation is, and we get R&D tax credits worth of that. But we have to weigh up this. If we buy the car and we develop the parts for it first, we're first to market. And we start selling, we gain market share, we become well known for that car throughout the life of the car.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So if it was personal, then the depreciation doesn't make sense. Maybe buy it 2 years when you're at the when depreciation curve's kind of not as steep.
It's about like who jumps on the gun first, I guess.
As a business, we want to be first, and we want to start. If we wait 2 years, how much product could we have sold?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like literally about like who jumps on the gun first and who can. Yeah, I mean,
I think in this industry it does, because with Eventuri, we're first a lot of the time now, because even if we don't get the car first, one of our distributors will.
Yeah.
And like I&D get their cars very early in America. They get 3-4 months before them. So we go to America and we scan the car and we have a look at what we're going to do, and like we prototype and sometimes made the kit even before it's come out in the UK.
Yeah, I remember you recently went to America and saw the X3M, am I right?
Yeah, I picked up IND's X3M for them, so I was over there anyway. Because we were over there because we knew they were picking the car up, so we could like prep the intake for it. And they were all busy, and they said, "Imran, can you go pick up our car for us, please?" From the dealer.
So basically, did you go there early, knowing that you could basically essentially design the intake early as well?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so great business move. But then that brings me on to say, how do you make these connections with people across the world? Like, for example, America, so you go to Japan a lot. How do you make those connections?
Yeah, it's just come from being in the industry for so long and just forging relationships with people over the time. They see you on forums, you chat, you DM them. Then, like when you go to like trade shows, you meet them, go out for dinner. It's just about being. I think a lot of people rely on online relationships too much.
Yeah.
That's all good and well, but I think you cannot beat face to face.
Yeah, 100%. That's why, like, for example, with our podcast right now, I really wanted to like be there with you, to meet you in person, but also to see our whole unit, because I feel like I'm a firm believer in that as well. Like, nothing beats a face-to-face interaction.
No, so online is great. Don't get me wrong. I've built, a lot of our business is built on marketing on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. But as much as that is important, like going to meet people that you do business with. And even if you haven't done business with them yet, like say, for example, you got somebody you want to pitch something to, and they've got all emails and phone calls and video calls or whatever. But if you can go and see them, you've got much more chance that they'll do business with you.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Because people still will buy from people. If they like you, they're much more likely to buy from you than from someone they don't really like as much, or they don't have a close relationship with.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense, to be honest.
So now we just maintain it, for example, in Japan, like a lot of time you don't meet the people first, but then they start buying from you. Then it's important to like go and meet them regularly. So, I end up seeing our main distributors at least 2 or 3 times a year, because they're at the main trade shows, and then we make a point of going to visit them once a year separately as well.
Yeah, no, but so we were literally just talking about like how you make those relationships and all that stuff. So
yeah,
where do you see those relationships developing? I'd say.
Yeah, so I mean, the more you see these people, the more you get to know them, the more they get to know you. Then they know what you're capable of, and you know what they want.
Yeah.
So, just as an example, I'm not going to say who it is, but like even before we've even developed or released an aero part for a car, a fairly large, well-known company has asked us to design a kit for a car without any proofs, without anything.
What do you mean?
Just said, we want an aero kit for this car.
Yeah.
And we want you to design it and make it for us.
Oh, so without even knowing that it's...
I've not even delivered one piece of, I have not delivered one finished article yet. Yet they've given us this project to do.
Are you talking about manufacturing?
Even I said, you're placing a lot of trust in me.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we know it will be good.
Are you talking about a manufacturer in that sense, or like another car company?
It's not a manufacturer, it's a big tuning company.
Okay, fair enough. So they want you to design
I won't say anything yet until...
No, that's fine. You don't have to say anything. We'll see it all in...
But that's what I mean. And they're like, no, they go, Imran, don't worry about it. We know it's going to be good. It's you. Yeah. So that level of trust takes a long time to build up. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they look for shortcuts in any business. There's no shortcuts. There's no overnight success. It takes a long time to build up a good reputation.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for shortcuts, then you're literally chasing money rather than doing something properly. And I think if you're chasing money, that you don't get the repeat business. You're constantly fighting to get more and more, because your other customers, if you're not looking after them properly, they're not going to come back to you.
That's good advice for anyone who's watching. Make sure you take that advice on.
Yeah, but it's too easy now. I think it's difficult for young people. I mean, I'm 43 years old, so I know I probably look a bit younger. I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard for young people because they see on Instagram, they see people flexing the cars. They see, say, oh, I want that, and then, but a lot of the time you have to realize that no one really buys a car. Everyone's got like PCP and finance, and they're probably living at home, don't have a mortgage.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, but what I'm saying is that you can't see what someone else is doing and just assume, that you have to try and chase that as well, because you don't know what that person's done.
You don't know the backstory.
You don't know the backstory. And even, for example, they are successful. You don't know what they've gone through to be successful. So nothing's easy. Just because people don't talk about it doesn't mean that they haven't gone through loads of struggle. Because I know a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs, a lot of my business owners. Everyone's gone through hard times to get to where they are. No, it's very rare to have an easy ride.
Yeah, no, success doesn't come overnight. There's loads of struggles and everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And that's what separates people. So you see loads of people starting and then they stop, because everyone gets to a point where they're ready to give up. Yeah. And it's those who keep pushing through that point that then come out of the other side. But it's very difficult.
It's difficult.
It's not. It's not for everyone.
Through it, then kudos.
But it's not for everyone.
Yeah, no. Would you say entrepreneurship? I can't even say that word. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
No, it's not for everyone.
Yeah, someone else. Can't remember.
Some people are designed to go and do a 9-to-5 job and have an easy life, but then don't. If you that's fair enough, but then don't look at someone who's got a business. How they've got it easy now. Yeah. Because they might have it easy now, but what they went through
was not
to
easy.
Get there, you might not, be able to do. When I started my first business, before I started 2007, I just got married 2005. Me and my wife had two decent incomes. We were going on holidays wherever we wanted. We had nice cars, and then we had our first child in 2009. My wife never went back to work since then, apart from coming back to work with me. So we lost one income straight away. We bought our first house, had our first child, and I started a business with no income.
So she started the business with you?
Sorry?
So she started the business with you in that sense?
No. So I started the business, but she came. So when I had the issues with my business partner in 2014, that's when she came in to run the back end, to do all the finance. Okay. She's in finance. She does all of the cash flow management and VAT and all that kind of stuff. So she basically keeps. I'm chaos when it comes to that stuff. I'm useless with numbers. I'm useless with organization. So I'm the one with the crazy ideas who just goes and does
the
crazy things, right? But she keeps everything ticking properly in the background. Yeah.
That's a good conversation to have, actually. So what's it like running a business and owning several businesses whilst having a family?
It's difficult. I think in the early days when you launch something, it's difficult to spend the time at home, to the point that when my son was born, obviously because he was my first one, I spent a lot of time. I would make sure I'd kind of finish work at 6 o'clock and I'd come home and spend time with him before I went to sleep. But when my daughter was born, 2011, that's when we launched into America. And then we were doing crazy hours because we were supporting customers till 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And for 2 years, she didn't even know who I was. Oh, seriously? Honestly, she wouldn't even come to me. And it's only when I took a day off and she was 2 years old, I remember it, maybe 18 months. I took a day off and I took her to Snakes and Ladders, this kind of, pay for things and all that kind of stuff. And it's only because I spent a whole day with her, then she became my friend. So it's very difficult to get that balance. And then I started to spend a bit more time. But now it's difficult because I travel a lot. You've seen from my Instagram, I spend a lot of time abroad now.
It looks like
my family's used to it.
You're out of the country.
They are used to it. But what I do now is that when I am at home, especially on weekends where I'm not abroad and stuff, I do make sure I spend that whole weekend with them and doing stuff with them.
Yeah. So they're, in that sense, they're how old now? They're quite grown up?
My son is 10 and my daughter is 8 now.
So that was then. So what's it like now? Is it still the same or?
Alhamdulillah. No, it's good. I get home normally around 7:30 most of the time.
And then just chill out.
But I'm lucky because I get them ready for school.
Okay.
So because I don't go to work straight away, so I wake up and I would normally get up quite early, and I'll go gym and then I'll do a little bit of work. But then I make their breakfast, I make their lunch for school, and I see them out for school essentially. Then I go to work.
Okay, so you basically.
So I get breakfast with them every day.
So you see them before and after school then?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's good
now,
then.
which is good because none of my friends who work an office or 9 to 5 job they don't see them in the morning, and then they hardly see them
At night.
in the evening. Yeah.
Yeah, like for example, like I have like my dad when he used to work 9 to 5. He used to work. So we live in East London, and he used to work all the way in West London. So obviously we wouldn't see him in the morning because he's gone, and then because of
Yeah.
rush hour traffic and all that stuff, he'd come back at like 8, 9, and by that time you were little kids. So our mums used to send us to sleep. So
Yeah.
it was like it's the relationship. You got to have a balance, I guess, then, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I think it was the same for me when I was younger. My dad was like working away a lot and stuff, so I didn't really have a relationship with him until I was an adult.
Yeah, man.
So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like that with my children. I think we've got a good relationship. Now I do a lot of stuff with them. They're into cars as well. My son's like quite heavily into cars, as you can imagine.
I'll be surprised if he's not.
So is my daughter. So they know about the business. They know how things work. So I'm teaching them about creativity and entrepreneurship at this age, because I want them to be creative and create stuff rather than consume stuff. And that's kind of the mindset that I'm giving them.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I created this podcast as well. In that sense, it's all about being creative and letting them find what they love, doing what.
Correct. And then that's like, I don't care if they go to university unless they want to do a profession, like be a doctor or a lawyer. I don't believe you need to go to university.
Yeah.
So, but then again, I'm not going to push them either way. But I've just said to them, whatever you enjoy, we'll and whatever you're interested in, we'll nurture that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Makes perfect sense. But that's like me. I don't think I developed a proper relationship with my dad up until I was like 10 years old. But that's because he left his job to do other stuff anyway. So yeah, kicked off like that. But
so yeah, I'm lucky in that sense that it's structured. I mean, so they go to bed, but I'm kind of always working. Does that make sense? It's like I'll get WhatsApps from
your brain can't
like
switch off from
in
your
different
own
time
job.
zones. I'll reply to them. It's not.
Yeah.
The problem I have is I don't really switch off. It's very difficult for me to.
But I guess
switch
you
my
can't
mind
though,
off.
because it's your own business, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not exactly like a 9 to 5 where you can think, okay, yeah, I've just left my manager. I can relax now.
I'm done. I don't have to worry about anything. Yeah.
So
it's not about worrying. It's just about, because it's your own thing, you will put that effort into it.
So there's one more thing I want to touch upon before we end this podcast. Social media. You've become quite big on social media. You've got your own YouTube channel now. You featured on loads of other YouTube channels, your Instagram platforms and all that stuff. How did all that come about? And mainly, did you see yourself getting into that when you started?
No, so when we started the business, we always had the intention of being kind of corporate, and then it was all about the brand and not about the people behind the brands.
Yeah.
So even the early days when we started getting into cars, into Performance BMW magazine and BMW car, you might see my name in there saying like Imran Arshad of Evaero Automotive says this or whatever.
Yeah.
But in those days, they'd always want a picture of you with the demo car or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's no pictures of me in any magazines.
Yeah, so you'd be looking at the magazine thinking, who is Imran?
Yeah. So no one knew who I was unless you were a customer of mine. And then that kind of started to change, 2-3 years ago, maybe even before that. And then people were like, okay, people like see the brand and who's behind the brand. And that was the idea with the YouTube channel, was not really to put me in the limelight, but to put what we were doing in the limelight. So our YouTube content is we're very different because we're not doing YouTube for YouTube. We're putting content that we're already doing. So we're already doing this stuff, but we're just happening to now document it, right? Yeah. So whereas before we would take pictures and then do a write-up on a blog or a forum, essentially what we're doing is we've just made it into video and then we upload it onto YouTube. And then I'd had no video experience before. I didn't really want to do it, but who else is going to do it?
Yeah, fair enough.
So I was kind of thrust into it and we did it. So initially Matt, who does all our media now, was contracted in to do video per video basis. Yeah. And then after we'd done about probably 8, I was like, I need to employ this guy full time because I think we can like get a lot of content out, because I could see the return we were getting from it. I mean, I think we were fairly late to the YouTube party, but in the early days, you'd get like huge amounts of subs like, very quickly. So all the people that are on million subs now, they started mainly like 10 years ago.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I never looked at it and thought, okay, yeah, we need to be on there, because we were very big on like forums, on Instagram, on Facebook.
You already had your clientele.
Yeah, we already had that, and I thought, I can see the benefit of it, but I didn't really want to do it. So we did it, and yeah, it's grown really well. And so not in terms of, so we put out content that we're doing something on a car anyway. We document it, we put it out, but that then generates sales. So you're almost making something that somebody wants to consume it, and you're selling to them at the same time without selling to them. So it's kind of perfect, because we don't talk about pricing on there. We don't talk about, we just talk about technicalities of the product.
It's just literally like knowledge and fun, entertainment at the same time.
Yes, infotainment. That's what we're doing, right? So we don't talk about prices. People say, why don't you say, it costs this much or that much? But that's not what it's about. We're putting out content. It's content marketing. We're putting out content. If people are interested, they'll come to us. And so you put out this content, people consume it because they want to watch it, but you're selling to them indirectly at the same time, and it generates a lot of income. To be fair, it's probably, I would say, since we started to do YouTube, it's probably increased our revenue by 30 to 40%, just YouTube alone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so YouTube pays like that?
No, not from YouTube ad revenue.
Oh, you mean like just from exposure and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would say more than 50% of the people who contact us now say they found us on YouTube. If they're not a previous customer and they haven't been referred by somebody else, which is what most of our business comes from.
Yeah.
They say, we saw you on YouTube.
Yeah, no, it's funny because even when you say that, like, for example, like I said, I saw you on YouTube at first. For someone like me who, when I discovered you, I was probably, when you said 2017, so what's that? Okay, let's just say 19, for example. Can't think of the exact age. But someone like that who hasn't got the car yet, I haven't got an Imprint yet or anything, but knows that when I do get one, Evolve's the first place I'm coming to, because you can see that experience brought on camera, you can see the products they offer, and you can see that it's the place to go. So it brings a future client as well, isn't it? Yeah, correct.
And then when we started on YouTube, a lot of people who didn't know who we were, we thought, everyone knows who we are. We've been in this game for ages, right? Because that's the feeling you get from the community. But there's loads of people. The world's a massive place. Not everyone knows who you are. You need to be, in as many places as possible. A lot of people think, who are these newbies? Yeah. And I'm like, well, just because we've just started a YouTube channel, I go, just go Google our name. And
doesn't mean we're newbies.
Hundreds and hundreds of pages of stuff that comes up.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, I just researched you guys. You've been around for ages. Yeah.
So how would you say, like, and then you also have the other side of YouTube. So like you've done collabs with like people like Ricky, Living Life Fast, Joe Achilles. Like, how has that come about?
Yeah, so with Ricky, I think once you're in the YouTube space, whoever else is in that space, they start taking notice of you. So Ricky contacted us first. I think it was to review some of our cars, and I took a chance on him. I met him. He seemed like a good guy. I said, "Yeah, fine. You can come and do some stuff. That's not a problem."
Yeah.
So we built up a good relationship with him. So he brings the cars down to us sometimes. We're giving some of our cars to review. And then with Joe, same thing. He knew who we were. We knew who he was. We met him at Meet once. Got on really well. And then again, we fit some parts to his car. And done videos which appear on his channel.
Yeah.
Then he drives our cars, and then they go on his channel, and then we do some stuff of his that comes on our channel. So it's very good to have that symbiotic.
It's like kind of bouncing off each other.
Yeah, so it's all about collabs. I think this is the way business is going as well. I think you're going to see much more of businesses collaborations with each other, because you're much stronger if you can utilize somebody else's audience base and they can utilize yours if you're not directly competing.
Exactly.
With each other. Exactly. And you open up new possibilities. But I mean, because of YouTube as well, then we started to do the collaborations with Park Lane. I mean, BMW Park Lane is the most prestigious BMW dealer in the UK. They're owned by BMW UK. So when they approached us, I was like, really? It's like we're kind of the enemy in a way, because we're like
aftermarket.
Warranties left, right? But at the end of the day, they understand that, like, my customers are their customers.
Yeah.
My customers do not exist without buying a car. from somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's really good because we get to get the cars really early on in terms of doing video reviews on them for them, and it works for them because we're driving customers to them because Imran, they know me, and they're like, oh, he's got a relationship with Park Lane. Maybe I should go there to buy a new car, and it works. It works really well.
Do they let you dismantle the cars to do R&D on it?
No.
Bit of a dumb question to be honest.
No. This is why we buy our own cars to do the R&D.
Fair enough. But then, so where do you see yourself going on social media? Like social media wise, where do you see yourself going in the future?
That's difficult. I don't know. It depends where social media goes. Obviously you got things like TikTok coming, but I don't think our customer base is there. So I'm not really investing any time
into TikTok
on that platform. I just think just growing the YouTube channel. I mean, the more we're on YouTube, the more business we're getting, the more collaborations that are coming in. I mean, because of the relationship we had with BMW Park Lane, BMW AG actually flew me out to do a review of the X6, the Vanta black one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we did that, and they filmed it and everything, and they went on our YouTube channel.
Can you?
So it's crazy.
You know the Vanta Black X6. Can you actually not see any of the body lines in person either?
No.
Seriously,
it's nuts. Mad? Yeah, you look at it and you think there's something wrong with your eyes. Yeah,
because even on camera, like not on camera, on video anyway, when I was looking at it, you're just looking at it like, what the hell is going on? Like something wrong with your eyes. You can only see the headlights, and that's it.
Literally, that's what it looks like in real life.
Where was that? What country you said?
Germany.
Okay, so they flew you out and everything like that as well.
Yeah.
Would you say they found you through YouTube?
Well, that was because of the relationship I have with Park Lane.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So they contacted Park Lane and said, "Have you got anyone you can suggest that we can like fly over to cover it?" And they suggested me.
So overall, out of all your years of experience, out of everything you've done on YouTube, exposure and all that stuff, what would you say is the biggest factor when it comes to business and just growth?
I would say is having a solid foundation. So having a good product, marketing it really well, and then looking after your customers.
Fair enough. And then the last question before we wrap this up: what does success mean to you? What defines success? Yeah,
what defines success for me is the fact that I can wake up on Monday and be happy that I'm going into work and doing something that's fulfilling to me, and my bills are getting paid.
Fair enough. So
if I can be doing that, so it's for me now. I mean, I've been satisfied for a long time. It's not about the additional revenue is obviously nice, but for me, as long as I can do what I love and my bills are getting paid, I'm not talking about having fancy cars or anything. This sustaining my family, pay my mortgage, pay my bills. I'm happy because I've been at that stage, and I was probably happier because I have less stress. Right, the bigger you get, the more stress you have.
Yeah.
I can handle stress pretty well, but the stress becomes different. It's not about the internal stress of the actual company itself. It's like I've got employees now. I'm responsible for them. So with this whole CV-19 situation, I'm not worried about myself personally. If worst comes to worst and everything goes to crap, I can start again. I've got all the contacts. I've got all the knowledge. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
But when you're responsible for employees and their families, that's where the slight stress comes in.
I hear what you're saying, yeah. Imran, it's been a great one. I hope you've enjoyed it yourself, and I hope we can catch up in part 2. Hopefully once this is all over, we can do it in person, come up to Luton, look at your unit, everything like that. For everyone who's watching, make sure you go head over to Imran's YouTube channel, his Instagram, which are loads of them, so I'll put them all here and in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed that one.
Cool, I enjoyed it. Nice talking to you, man.
Yeah, nice talking to you too.
Cool. Oh, that just ran out just now.
Just in time then.